can you believe it? I'm on number 3 already. So life path numerology number 3. Here we go with the wait, very intelligent, communicative number 3s. But you know what the funny part is? Because there's always a funny part. There's like always this freaking twist, and you know how I do. The thing about it is, a lot of 3s can struggle to find their voice. They can struggle to find their voice. Some 3s can be rather quiet, or if they are not quiet, they can just be like the 3s that spaz out. And either way, sometimes their message gets lost in translation. Like either they're the 3s that spaz out to where, they give a response when they are pushed to the limit. Okay. They're pushed to the limit and they have to respond. And then you have those 3s to where they just don't, they want to say so much, but they don't really know how to properly, say things, or they don't really know how to, it's like it goes good in their head, the way they're thinking about it. Nice, eloquent, flowing speech, talk, conversation, thoughts, whatever. But then when it's time to bring it out, they can find that it doesn't really flow as freely. And like the things that they say, they're not really communicating it over as good as they thought. And other people are like, so sometimes they can feel like they're misunderstood, okay, with this 3 energy. It's really quite interesting. And you have the 3s that are mute sometimes, like they're just mute. They could have had speech impediments, or they could just be slow to react sometimes to things. Like you could see a lot of 3s to where they could be in the middle of a heated conversation, and the conversation is going on. People is getting jabs like at them, saying all kind of stuff, and then they're like, okay, whatever, and then they think about it after the conversation or the argument is over with, and or even someone just saying something slick to them, like slick, or they know is shady or to hurt their feelings. The 3 may think about it later on and think, oh my God, like, did she just say this? Did he just say that? Like, I could have said so many things, that I didn't say. Like, why didn't I say that? It's because sometimes 3's response times can be off track. 3s can talk to themselves a lot. Okay, they can talk to themselves a lot. They bounce a lot of thoughts off of their heads and all. They think a lot as well. So a lot of times it can make them feel withdrawn, like other people feel withdrawn from them because they need a lot of space, thinking time. Okay. But people, they're good. They can be good listeners, and people could like interacting and talking with 3s. Okay. Because they feel like 3s are helpful. They feel like 3s are smart, and they feel like 3s can make good friends. So 3s can have quite a bit of friends or people that want their time, and because of different reason. Now, what it is with 3s, okay, is yes, 3s can communicate and everything. We know that whole thing, but sometimes 3s, like the 3s that have a hard time communicating, they can use other means of communication. Like they could be lyricists, they could write books, because think about it. They can use it, like sometimes because they cannot always communicate what they want over to people, they do it in other ways. They do it in other ways. And imagine a person writing a book. Because like I've written a few books, and when you get down there and you just letting things, like you're typing and you're just letting things flow off your head, you just typing, you just going in, like nobody's there to judge you, nobody's there. It's like thinking on paper or something. They're very good with that type of stuff. So it doesn't need verbal communication. You see what I'm saying? But it's still communicating things over to people. So 3s can write books. They can express themselves in other ways, like in other creative ways, through different art, pieces. Like a three will do in some like art, but the art is communicating. Like the art has a message behind it. The art can speak for them. Um, and they could be very quirky or different because of it. Like people can see them as their own individual person. And it's not that threes are saying, hey, I want to be an individual. It's just that threes have this way about themselves. I will say that threes can be kind of rebellious too. Anytime you see a rebellious type nature behind something or energy behind something, there's always that potential for that energy to be creative, because it's able to do its own thing. All right. Now I will say this: three, the vibration of three, is about intelligence. The mind is about independence. But threes can do well with other numbers. Don't get me wrong. Threes, when you talk about independence, is more about allowing other people independence. So you can find a lot of threes that are opinionated, but at the same time, they won't necessarily say, "Oh, well, I won't deal with you because you do A, B, or C, and I don't do it." No, they may express their opinion, but they kind of give people the room to, do as they please. That type of energy. Um, and they're not really overbearing. Um, so yeah, and threes, even though they're intellectual, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're intellectual like in a school sense. Okay, because let's be for real. A lot of times with school, a lot of people that do just like extraordinarily well in school are people that to where they can kind of tap into the information. They can tap it. It's like they see through the information or they see past it. And they're like, okay, yeah, I know what you want me to put on the test, but this is what I really feel like the answer is. A lot of people that, so yeah, you have those people that are able to just retain information easy. And then you have those people that are, when dealing with school, it's kind of like, man, like I'm smart, but I like to learn about stuff that I'm interested in. I like to learn about stuff that I feel true or connected to. So just because you're number three and you don't do so well in school and things of that nature, it doesn't mean that you're unintelligent or you're not smart. I've heard science, and listen, I've considered myself a scientist, but I've heard like stuff that I had to study with science material on just different things, behavioral life, say some things to where I'm just like, what, and we're supposed to believe that. Even though science says itself that it seeks to be proven wrong, you know. So if you take a three could be intuitive in the third eye space and is able to tune in, download information, and share it with people, or use it for itself. And people are like, okay, well, where are you getting this from? Like, how do you know it's not in a book? And because of this, life path number three is you're here to teach people in some way, shape, or form. You're here to use the power of your voice, but it doesn't have to be a vocal voice in the sense to where you just open up and talking all the time. It can be in other ways. You're here to do that. So you may get challenged with, oh, you don't know this. How do you know that? You may get challenged with what you know until you realize, listen, I know what I know. How do I know what I know? Because I'm in tuned. I've utilized it for myself. I've experienced a lot of things and I can make this information work for me. That means I can make it work for other people. And yes, number threes, I'm not saying that you can be vocal. A lot of number threes can be very vocal. As a matter of fact, when number threes mature themselves, like the ones that struggle with communication and struggle in these areas, because like my work that I do is really geared towards the people and individuals that kind of felt left out in society, felt like people just didn't vibe with you, they didn't relate to you, and you knew that you were intuitive, or you knew you were smart, or you knew that you had higher knowledge, and you knew that you was connected to your soul, and you knew that you wasn't just stuck with just the random everyday rambunctiousness, is that a word? Of the earth plane. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from. So the number threes that may have struggled, with speech or vocalizing yourself, when you finally get to that point, like you mature through confidence, through certain challenges in life, when you find your path, when you find what works for you, you can become extremely vocal and you can teach a lot of people stuff, teach people a lot. And another thing, what I've noticed about the number three may not just want to hold conversations about any topic and, may not know everything about everything, even though you know quite a bit about a lot of stuff, because you seek to relearn the information, you get downloads of information, however the case may be. But a lot of times, number threes are teachers, because if you go and you learn something, no matter how you learned it, it could just be a natural skill, gift, talent, something you learned, something you experience, you can do a whole lot of talk about that. You're able to communicate that over very well to people, and people learn off of you. But then you say, okay, well then when I get over here in this arena, to where like I might be making posts on Facebook or Instagram or social media and I'm not getting that many likes, or people act like they don't understand me, it's like, why am I getting people to understand me on this area and not this area? It's because you're able to, you're connected to what you're saying when you're discussing something that feels true to you, that's like really coming from within, that you really know, and you're expressing from that place. It's a difference. It's a difference. You're there, you're intuitive with it, you know the information, you're on point, you're able to communicate that over. And like, people might feel like you're just an extrovert, but you can really be introverted a lot of times, because you're able to, you can be like the greatest rapper or something, but when it's time to go on stage, you could just be like, I don't really want to go on stage and perform. But I don't want to go on stage and perform because I'm good at writing. You could sometimes want to be behind the scenes. Now the fives are probably going to want to be more in the public's eye. And it just depends on you overall. Like, it depends on everything overall. I'm not saying all threes want to be behind the scenes. But what I am saying is that the energy of the number can play out in this way. Okay, so life path number 3. You are here to communicate. And if you're not a good communicator, maybe you learn, maybe you have to have experiences that finally take you to the place or push you to that point to where you're just like, you know what, this is what I represent. This is what's true to me. And this is, here's my voice, and different reasons. There could be different reasons why you may not be as vocal as you like. And it could be from something in childhood to where you were made to feel like your ideas weren't good enough, or what you were saying was stupid, or you were made to hush, whatever. Why do I always do weird stuff during videos? But who knows? But what I'm saying is that you eventually find your voice, and so you're here to do that. But you don't have to just find your voice in one way. Like, you're here to teach other people something. And it could be teaching them self-confidence. It could be teaching them math. It could be teaching them it could be teaching children. It could be anything. But you're here to teach somebody something. You could be a father that's like, I'm going to teach my son, I'm going to teach my daughter. You could be a mother, I'm going to teach my children. It's not one thing or one way. You have to find what fits and what works for you. And it's funny because, like, that's what I try to tell people all the time. Like, when they're doing things and they feel like it's not working, and why is it working for this person or that person? It's because, like, you got to find what works for you, So, yes, life path 3. What are you going to teach people? Like, what are you here to say? If you had to say something, what are you here to say? And you could be one of those life path number 3s that make excellent Facebook or Instagram posts and people love it. How do you use it to your advantage? I see number 3s can be into radio, podcasting, entertainment, hosting events, hosting shows, teachers, speakers. And they could be creative with their approach, so people could want to hear them speak. Okay, So this is life path number 3. And stay tuned, subscribe, because I will be back with numbers, more of the numbers, and we're going to be pairing them up with other numbers and just seeing, we just doing some things. Doing some things. All right. Peace.